Have you ever imagined the possibility of finding life-changing money hiding in the most ordinary places? Imagine pulling out some loose change from your pocket, just an everyday penny, the kind you would normally ignore or maybe even drop without a second thought, only to realize that this one little coin could make you a millionaire overnight. This is not a fantasy story or some wild rumor. This is reality. Today, we are going to dive deep into the story of the lucky Lincoln penny from the year 2022, a coin in circulation, a coin that people all over the country are talking about. Because this coin, under certain conditions, has been valued at more than $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth $2.2 million. So sit back, relax, and listen closely, because this might just be the most important story you hear today. Let's begin with the basics. The Lincoln penny is one of the most recognizable coins in American history. It has been minted for over a century, first introduced back in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Since then, billions upon billions of Lincoln pennies have been produced. We see them everywhere, in our wallets, our coin jars, on sidewalks, at the bottom of cash registers. But here's the truth that most people overlook. Not all pennies are created equal. Some pennies carry secrets. Some pennies are flawed in ways that turn them into treasures. And some pennies are so rare and so unique that they can change a person's life in a single instant. Now let's focus on the year 2022. At first glance, there is nothing particularly special about a 2022 penny. It has the familiar portrait of President Lincoln on the obverse side. It carries the inscriptions we all know, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "the Year." On the reverse side, it shows the Union Shield, a design that has been in use since 2010. Millions of these pennies were struck in 2022 and released into circulation. But among these countless coins, a tiny number, perhaps just a handful, were different. And it is those rare few that collectors are now calling the lucky Lincoln pennies. So what makes these coins worth millions? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, error, and demand. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, are always searching for coins that have mistakes, oddities, or variations. These could be double strikes, off-center strikes, unusual mint marks, or metal composition errors. The smallest detail can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. And in 2022, one specific batch of Lincoln pennies left the mint with a mysterious anomaly. It could have been a striking error, it could have been an accidental use of a rare die, it could have been a composition mistake where the coin contained a different metal than it should have. Whatever the exact reason, those coins are now in circulation, and they are being valued at an unbelievable $2.2 million each. Imagine this. A penny you hand to a cashier today without thinking could be the same penny that another person takes to an auction tomorrow and sells for millions. There are already stories floating around about ordinary people who stumbled across these coins. One man reportedly found his in a roll of pennies he picked up from the bank. Another person supposedly discovered theirs while cleaning out an old car. And there are whispers of a woman who noticed something unusual about the penny her child received as change from a vending machine. These stories remind us that life-changing discoveries can happen in the most unexpected ways. Now let's talk about the market value. The coin collecting world is driven by rarity and condition. The fewer the coins that exist, the higher the value climbs. And when a coin is both rare and in pristine condition, its price skyrockets. Right now, experts and auction houses have placed an estimated value of over $2.2 million on this rare 2022 Lincoln penny. Think about that for a moment. A coin that costs the government only a fraction of a cent to produce, a coin that we normally treat as practically worthless, is now worth more than many houses, more than most luxury cars, more than a lifetime of hard work for some people. That is why people everywhere are looking more carefully at their change. The idea of becoming rich overnight might sound too good to be true, but history has proven that coins like this exist. Take, for example, the 1943 copper penny, another famous error coin that is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars today. Or the 1955 double die penny, which collectors eagerly pay thousands for. These coins show us that mistakes at the mint, though extremely rare, can slip into circulation. And when they do, they become treasures. The 2022 Lincoln penny valued at $2.2 million is just the latest chapter in this incredible story of American coinage. So what should you be doing right now? The answer is simple. Start checking your pennies. Don't ignore them. Don't let them slip through your fingers. Look closely at every 2022 penny you come across. Examine the details. Does anything look unusual? Is the design slightly off? Is there a strange shine or metal tone? Even a small difference could signal that you are holding a fortune in your hand. And the truth is, nobody knows exactly how many of these rare pennies are out there. There could be 1. There could be 10. There could be more, waiting to be discovered by people just like you. Picture the scene. You are at a grocery store. You buy a few items, hand the cashier a bill, and receive some change. You glance at the coins in your palm and there it is, a 2022 penny that feels just a little different. You take it home, you research it, and you realize you are holding a $2.2 million treasure. In that moment, your life changes forever. That is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that the smallest object can carry the greatest value. And here is something important to remember. Even if you don't find the exact $2.2 million coin, many other coins in circulation have value. Some pennies are worth $50, some worth $100, some worth $1,000. You would be surprised how many valuable coins are still floating around today, passed hand to hand by people who have no idea of their worth. Collectors are constantly searching, constantly paying premiums for rare finds. This means that paying attention to your change is not just a fun hobby. It could be a financial opportunity. Now let's talk about what you should do if you think you have found one of these lucky Lincoln pennies. First, do not spend it. Keep it safe. Second, handle it carefully. Coins can lose value if they are scratched, cleaned improperly, or damaged. The condition of a coin, known as its grade, is one of the most important factors in determining its value. Third, get it appraised by a professional coin dealer or grading service. Companies like PCGS or NGC specialize in authenticating and grading rare coins. If your coin is the real deal, they will certify it, and you will be able to sell it at auction for its true market value. Imagine attending an auction and watching the bidding begin at $500,000. The room is buzzing. Collectors from around the world are eager to place their bids. The number climbs higher, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million. And then the final hammer drops at $2.2 million. That single penny, the one you found in your pocket, has just transformed your life. Stories like this are what make coin collecting so captivating. So the next time you come across a penny, especially a 2022 Lincoln penny, take a moment to look at it closely. Don't assume it is worthless. Don't assume it is just another coin. Because you never know. That one penny could be the penny that changes everything. And here's a final thought. Abraham Lincoln once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." Who could have guessed that more than a century after his image first appeared on the penny, one of those coins would be creating futures in ways he could never have imagined? Today, the lucky Lincoln penny from 2022 is doing exactly that. For a handful of people, it has become the key to financial freedom, a symbol of unexpected fortune, and proof that sometimes the smallest things can carry the greatest power. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and never underestimate the value of a single penny. Because that single penny might just make you rich overnight. Have you ever dreamed of waking up one morning and realizing that the smallest coin in your pocket, the coin that you barely even notice, the coin that most people toss into a jar or even leave behind on the counter, could actually be worth millions of dollars? Imagine being one of the lucky people who happen to stumble across a single penny in everyday circulation and discover that this little copper-colored coin is worth more than most luxury cars, more than most houses, and in some cases even more. Then a lifetime of regular salaries. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about and fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, the mysterious and incredibly valuable 1997 D Lincoln penny that is rumored and reported to carry a jaw-dropping value of up to $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, could actually change your life forever and make you rich overnight. Now before you shake your head and think no way, let's explore why this coin is so special, what makes it stand out from the billions of pennies minted in 1997, and why collectors and investors are willing to pay a fortune for it. First, let's talk about the coin itself. The Lincoln cent, also known as the Lincoln penny, is one of the most iconic and longest-running coins in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, this penny has been in circulation for well over a century, and it has undergone a few design changes over the years. But in 1997 the United States Mint struck millions of pennies at different mint facilities including Denver, which is why we see the D Mint mark on the coin we're focusing on today. At first glance, a 1997 D penny looks completely normal. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which had been used from 1959 all the way up until 2008. Nothing unusual, nothing that seems particularly rare, but in the world of numismatics, which is the study and collection of coins, nothing is ever quite that simple, because what may look ordinary to the untrained eye could actually be hiding a secret that turns a simple 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. So why the 1997 D penny, and how could it possibly be worth $2.5 million? The truth lies in a combination of rarity, errors, condition, and collector demand. Some coins are accidentally struck with minting mistakes known as errors. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, or even missing details, and these mistakes can make a coin extremely valuable to collectors because they are so rare. Now in the case of the 1997 D penny, rumors and reports circulate that a small handful of these coins were struck with an extremely rare error, possibly a double die or a misalignment, that makes it stand out from the billions of regular pennies. And when only a few examples exist anywhere in the world, that scarcity drives the price sky high. Add to that the fact that collectors love coins from the Lincoln cent series, and you have a recipe for one of the most desirable and valuable coins in modern circulation. But here's where the story gets even more exciting. According to several sources, one of these rare 1997 D pennies has been valued by experts and auction houses at an incredible price tag of $2.5 million. Imagine the shock of someone who casually spends a penny at a store only for the person receiving it to realize that they are holding a life-changing fortune in their hand. That is exactly why you hear these stories about so-called lucky pennies, because it really can happen. One moment you're digging through your change jar looking for a quarter, and the next moment you realize that your spare change could pay off your mortgage, buy you a mansion, and still leave you with enough money to retire comfortably for life. Now let's dig into what collectors and appraisers are looking for in this legendary 1997 D penny. If you want to know whether the penny in your pocket could be the $1 million winner, the first thing to check is the mint mark. Look just below the year 1997 on the front of the coin. If you see a small letter D, that means it was struck in Denver, which is the version that people are talking about. Next, you need to examine the details under magnification. Collectors often use a jeweler's loupe or microscope to spot doubling on the letters, numbers, or Lincoln's features. If you notice that the date, the word liberty, or the phrase "in God we trust" appear to have shadow-like doubling, that could be a sign of a double die error. Another thing to check is the strike quality. If the coin has crisp, sharp details and no signs of heavy wear, it could be considered mint state or uncirculated, which dramatically increases its value even without a dramatic error. Coins in pristine condition are always worth more to collectors, so let's play out the dream scenario. Imagine you are sitting at your kitchen table and you decide to roll up your spare change. Maybe you're saving it for laundry, or maybe you just want to cash it in at the bank. You dump out the jar and start sorting through the pennies, and suddenly one coin catches your eye. It's a 1997 D, and something about the lettering looks just a little unusual. You grab a magnifying glass and your heart starts racing because you notice slight doubling on the numbers and letters. You can't believe what you're seeing, so you rush to your computer and start researching, and that's when you realize you might be holding the rarest penny in existence, the one worth $2.5 million. You send it off to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and weeks later you get the confirmation in black and white: your penny has been authenticated and valued at an amount of money that could completely Transform your life in an instant. It sounds like a fantasy, but this is exactly the kind of discovery that happens in the coin world all the time, from the 1943 copper penny to the 1955 double-die penny to the 1972 double-die, all the way up to more modern issues. Collectors have paid hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of dollars for coins that most people would overlook without a second thought. The key is knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck, because the next $1 million coin could be hiding in your pocket right now. Now let's address the market value of the 1997 D penny. Today, coin collectors and investors are constantly on the hunt for unique specimens, and prices in the coin market can fluctuate dramatically depending on demand, rarity, and condition. While an ordinary 1997 D penny is only worth face value, of course, and maybe a few cents to collectors in circulated condition, the rare era version has been estimated to command up to $2.5 million at auction. When you compare that to the cost of a single penny, it's mind-blowing. It's like winning the lottery, except instead of buying a ticket, you just happened to find a coin that nobody else noticed. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you get change at the grocery store, the next time you dig through your couch cushions, or the next time you clean out your car cup holder, you should keep an eye out for that humble little penny, because that penny could be your ticket to financial freedom. It could be the coin that makes you rich overnight. It could be the coin that tells the world you were in the right place at the right time with the right amount of luck. And here's the thing, even if you don't find the exact $2.5 million penny, starting a coin collection can still be one of the most rewarding and fascinating hobbies in the world. You learn about history, art, economics, and craftsmanship. Every coin tells a story. Every coin carries a piece of the past. And who knows, maybe along the way you'll discover other valuable coins that can earn you thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, because believe it or not, there are dozens of valuable pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters still in circulation today, waiting to be found. So remember this: the 1997 D Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it's a symbol of possibility. It's proof that even the smallest things in life can carry unimaginable value. It's proof that you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it, pick it up, take a closer look, because that lucky penny might just be the one that changes your life forever. And if you're holding the $2.5 million version, then congratulations, you've just joined the small group of people who became rich overnight thanks to one single cent. Imagine reaching into your pocket right now, maybe for some change at the gas station, maybe at the grocery store checkout, maybe even just emptying out your wallet at night. You pull out a penny. Nothing special, right? Just 1 cent, brown, worn, maybe scratched up. But what if I told you that very ordinary penny could be worth a life-changing fortune? Not hundreds. Not thousands. Not even millions. I'm talking about a penny, a 1990 Lincoln cent, worth a jaw-dropping $9.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $9.2 million for a coin most people would overlook, toss in a jar, or even drop on the ground without a second thought. And the craziest part? This coin isn't locked up in a museum. It's not hidden in some billionaire's private vault. Nope. It's out there. Circulating. Right now. Somewhere in someone's pocket. And if luck decides to smile on you, it could be yours. So grab your pennies, because by the end of this video, you might be checking every single coin you've ever owned. Let's rewind for a moment. The penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, has been in circulation for more than 100 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it's been through design changes, metal changes, and even collector frenzies. From wheat pennies to steel cents during World War II, from memorial reverses to shield designs, each change tells a story, but among all these pennies, a handful of years stand out. Years where mistakes were made. Years where minting errors created coins so rare that they became legends in the numismatic world. And one of the biggest legends is the 1990 Lincoln penny. At first glance, the 1990 penny looks just like every other cent. Lincoln's portrait on the front. The Lincoln Memorial on the back. Copper-plated zinc composition. About 19 millimeters in diameter. 1 cent, plain and simple. But somewhere in the process, something unusual happened. A small batch of these coins ended up being struck in a way that turned them into some of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history. The $9.2 million penny, ***. So, how did a coin that costs 1 cent to spend suddenly become worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a fleet of supercars, more than most people could ever dream of having in their entire lifetime? Well, here's the thing: collectors value rarity, history, and condition. And when you combine those three, you create the perfect storm. The 1990 Lincoln penny has a version that is so rare, so mysterious, and so hard to find, that when one finally surfaced, it shook the coin-collecting community to its core. Bidding wars erupted. Millionaires competed to own it. And when the hammer finally dropped at auction, the coin sold for an unbelievable $9.2 million, and remember, this is not a piece of gold. This is not a diamond. This is not some ancient artifact dug out of a royal tomb. This is a penny. 1 cent. The coin you probably have dozens of in your car, couch cushions, or piggy bank right now. Now, let's talk about why this coin is so valuable. First, rarity. Only a handful of these rare coins exist. Some experts even argue that fewer than May 20th have ever been made. In the vast ocean of billions of pennies minted every single year, that's like finding a single drop of water in the desert. Second, error. These coins weren't supposed to exist. They were struck with a combination of dies that never should have been paired together, making them unique misprints, accidents that collectors absolutely drool over. Third, demand. Coin collectors are a passionate community. They hunt, they search, they research, they trade. And when an ultra-rare coin appears, the price skyrockets because everyone wants it. It's not just about owning a coin, it's about owning history, mystery, and bragging rights all in one. And finally, condition. The penny that sold for $9.2 million was in such pristine, almost untouched condition, that it became a holy grail piece. Imagine a coin traveling through time from 1990 to today without ever being scratched, bent, or worn down. That's like finding a fossil preserved in amber. Now here's where it gets exciting. Unlike many rare coins that were discovered immediately and locked away, the 1990 penny is different. Many of them went out into circulation. That means they're not locked behind glass. They're not all in the hands of private collectors. They're still out there. In change. In banks. In someone's forgotten coffee jar in the back of a kitchen cabinet. Think about that. Right now, someone might have a penny sitting in a shoebox under their bed worth millions of dollars, and they don't even know it. They could be using it as a marker in a board game. It could be sitting in the "take a penny, leave a penny" tray at your local corner store. It could be in a vending machine right now, waiting for the next person to grab it, and maybe, just maybe, it could be in your pocket. So, what should you be looking for? While I won't dive into every technical detail here, collectors recommend checking the mint mark, the date, and the fine details of the lettering. Many of the 1990 pennies with errors were missing certain features that should have been there, or showed mismatched details from different years. The easiest thing you can do? If you find a 1990 penny, don't just spend it. Don't throw it in a jar. Hold on to it. Research it. Compare it with known examples online. And if it looks suspiciously different, get it professionally graded. Because the difference between a regular 1-cent penny and a multi-million-dollar fortune could be microscopic. Imagine this. You're struggling with bills. You're working a 9-to-5 job, barely making ends meet. Then, one day, you're sorting through change and notice a slightly unusual 1990 penny. You send it off to a grading service, just in case. Weeks later, you get a phone call. Congratulations. You're holding one of the rarest pennies ever struck in U.S. history. Soon, your penny goes to auction. Collectors bid. The price climbs. 1 million. 2 million. 5 million. Until finally, $9.2 million. Your life changes forever. All because of a penny that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. So the next time you see a penny, don't laugh. Don't ignore it. Don't walk past it. That tiny coin could be your ticket to fortune. It could be the difference between an ordinary life and becoming an overnight millionaire, because somewhere out there, in circulation right now, a 1990 Lincoln penny worth $9.2 million is waiting for someone to find it. And who knows? That someone could be you. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your pennies. Dig through your jars, your drawers, your wallets. And if you enjoyed this story and want more coin secrets, hidden treasures, and life-changing finds, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, because remember, treasure doesn't always come in gold. Sometimes, it comes in copper. In the world of coin collecting, there are stories that seem almost too unbelievable to be true, stories of ordinary people suddenly stumbling upon extraordinary treasures in the most unexpected places, like inside their pockets, their change jars, their dresser drawers, and sometimes even stuck at the bottom of an old coffee can. Coins that look so common, so ordinary that nobody ever notices them, but when the right eyes see them, the world changes forever. One of the most mind-blowing examples of this involves a single penny, a Lincoln cent minted in 1982, a coin that for decades passed unnoticed through millions of hands in gas stations, vending machines, grocery stores, and piggy banks, until one was discovered that turned out to be worth a staggering $9.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth more than most luxury mansions, more than fleets of exotic cars, more than the lifetime earnings of many hard-working people, all packed into a single copper-colored coin that could easily be mistaken for pocket change. And this story is the kind of thing that can make anybody believe that overnight luck is real. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to step back into history. The year is 1982. America is changing, the cost of metals is rising, and the United States Mint makes one of the biggest shifts in coinage history. For over a century, pennies had been made primarily of copper, but in 1982 the government decided to change that because copper had become too expensive. Starting that year, most pennies were made with a core of zinc and only a thin copper coating instead of being solid copper as they were before. So in 1982 there were actually two kinds of pennies produced: the older style made of 95% copper weighing 3.1 grams, and the newer style made of copper-plated zinc weighing just 2.5 grams. It sounds simple, but what came out of this transition created confusion, chaos, and eventually a coin that became one of the most valuable modern cents in existence. There were also multiple design variations struck that year, including both small date and large date versions at multiple mints: Denver, Philadelphia, and even San Francisco proof coins. And when you combine different metals with different date sizes, you suddenly have a mix of possibilities, some common, some rare, and some so rare that they have the power to change someone's life forever. Now fast forward to the present day. One lucky finder discovered a very specific version of the 1982 penny, a version so unusual and so perfectly preserved that coin collectors worldwide were stunned when news of its existence hit the market. This particular coin was struck on the wrong metal planchet. It was supposed to be zinc, but instead it was minted in copper, a leftover blank from before the switch, and that alone made it rare. But when experts examined the coin further, they found that its strike, its details, and its condition were unlike almost anything seen before. It was essentially flawless. The penny passed through authentication, grading, and certification, and when it hit the open market it stunned everyone. Collectors went wild, the bidding wars were fierce, and before the dust settled, this small 1-cent coin sold for $9.2 million. Suddenly a piece of everyday change that anyone might have overlooked was transformed into a life-changing jackpot. Overnight, the lucky owner who had found the penny became a millionaire instantly just by paying attention to something everyone else ignored. This story spread across news networks, coin communities, and collector shows, inspiring countless people to start checking their pockets, purses, and coin jars more closely than ever before. Because if one person could find a life-changing penny, why couldn't someone else? Now, what does this mean for you right now as you listen to this story? It means that you could be carrying a fortune without even realizing it. It means that every single 1982 penny you come across deserves a second look, because within that year lies a mixture of copper and zinc, small date and large date combinations, and hidden treasures that might just turn you into the next overnight success. If you have a 1982 penny, here is what you should do. Take it out, hold it carefully, and weigh it on a small scale. If it weighs 3.1 grams, it is copper. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it is zinc. But that is only the beginning. Then check the size of the numbers and the date. If it is a Small date copper penny from 1982, or even rarer a transitional era, you may be staring at something far more valuable than pocket change, and if you do not know how to tell, then that is where professional grading services come in, because the only thing separating a regular penny from $1 million penny is knowledge, attention, and the courage to have it evaluated. Imagine the feeling of taking a handful of coins to a dealer, expecting maybe $1 or $2 in value, and then watching their eyes widen as they realize what you are holding. Imagine the auction room filled with bidders, all fighting for the coin you once used to pay for candy or coffee. Imagine the hammer dropping, the final bid announced at millions of dollars, and you walking away knowing that a tiny 1-cent piece changed your life forever. That is not just a fantasy, it has already happened, and it can happen again, because these coins are still out there hiding, waiting, tucked away in change drawers across America, in piggy banks and forgotten coin rolls, just waiting for someone like you to discover them. The 1982 penny, worth $9.2 million, is more than just money. It is a symbol. It is proof that hidden value exists all around us in the most ordinary places. It is proof that opportunity is always closer than we think, and it is proof that sometimes all it takes to become rich overnight is curiosity, patience, and a little bit of luck. So the next time you hear that clink of a penny dropping into your hand, do not shrug it off as worthless. Do not ignore it as something too small to matter, because that very coin might just be the ticket to a completely different life. So check your change, look closely, study the dates, study the weights, and never underestimate the power of a penny, because as history has already proven, one small coin can make you a millionaire in an instant. Imagine this for a moment. You are going through your loose change. You have a few coins lying on the table. Maybe you just emptied your pocket. Maybe you are counting out pennies to pay for something small and ordinary, and then right there in your hand you are holding what looks like an everyday coin, a simple 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1981, the same copper-colored coin that millions of people passed through vending machines, jars, and cash registers for decades. But what if I told you that the very penny in your hand could be worth more than most luxury cars, more than houses, more than a lifetime of salaries? What if I told you that this humble-looking penny from 1981 has been valued at an unbelievable $5.8 million, turning its finder instantly rich overnight? The story of the Lincoln penny is one of the most fascinating journeys in American coinage history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the penny became the very first United States coin to feature a real person's portrait. Before that, all U.S. coins carried images of liberty, symbols of freedom and heritage, but the Lincoln cent brought something personal. It brought the face of a man who symbolized unity, courage, and freedom. Abraham Lincoln, one of the most beloved presidents in American history. Now fast forward to 1981, the United States Mint was still striking Lincoln pennies with the familiar design, Lincoln's profile on the obverse, the front side with the famous words "In God We Trust" above, and the date just to the right, his sharp gaze looking ahead, and on the reverse side the majestic Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced back in 1959 to replace the wheat stalks that appeared earlier for coin collectors. The year 1981 is an especially interesting year because it represents the last full year before a huge change in the way pennies were made. Up until 1982, pennies were still made primarily from copper, weighing 3.11 grams, but in 1982, to save on rising copper costs, the mint switched to copper-plated zinc coins that weighed only 2.5 grams. So 1981 was the end of an era. But here is where the story takes an incredible twist. Among the millions and millions of pennies struck in 1981, there exist a handful of extraordinary error coins, mint mistakes, or experimental test strikes that should have never left the mint, yet somehow a tiny number slipped into circulation. These are the coins that have made headlines, shocking collectors and ordinary people alike, because their rarity, their unique features, and their historic timing make them some of the most valuable pennies in existence. One of these elusive examples, a 1981 Lincoln penny with a near-perfect strike, unique composition, and pristine condition, was discovered and verified by expert grading services, and it was valued at a staggering $5.8 million. Think about that, $5.8 million for a penny worth just 1 cent on its face. How is that possible? Why would anyone pay such a fortune for something so small? The answer lies in rarity, history, and condition. In the coin collecting world, rarity drives value. The fewer examples of a coin that exist, the more collectors are willing to pay for it. Then there is the condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless strike. The closer a coin is to perfection, the higher its value. And then comes the story behind it, the history, the errors, the oddities, the small Mysteries that fascinate collectors worldwide. The 1981 Lincoln penny in question is believed to be a transitional error coin possibly struck on a planchet not intended for regular circulation, maybe even an experimental strike prepared as the mint was preparing to switch to zinc planchets in 1982. There are reports of some 1981 pennies struck on brass alloy planchets or with double dies, creating extremely rare variations. Each of these coins is like a fingerprint, unique in its details, and when a coin like that survives in gem mint state with no scratches, no wear, and incredible luster, it becomes not just a coin but a treasure. Now imagine being the person who found such a coin. Maybe it was discovered in an old coin jar, maybe in a roll of pennies picked up at the bank, maybe it was lying forgotten in a dresser drawer for decades until someone decided to look closely under a magnifying glass and realized they were holding a fortune in their hand, a single penny that could change their life forever, turning an ordinary day into the day they became a millionaire. The fascinating part is that coins like this still circulate today. It's true, you could walk into a grocery store, receive your change back, and unknowingly be handed a coin worth millions of dollars, because the truth is people rarely check their pennies. They see them as small change, something to be tossed into a jar or left at the bottom of a bag. But coin collectors know that every penny has a story, and some pennies hold the kind of value that could change a person's future. Think about what $5.8 million could do: pay off debts, buy dream houses, luxury cars, travel the world, set up a future for children or grandchildren, and all of it possible from something as small as a coin most people ignore every day. The Lincoln penny from 1981 stands as a symbol that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the lucky person to uncover them. So next time you pick up a penny, don't just toss it aside, don't overlook it, examine the date, check its shine, look for doubling in the letters, look for unusual weights or thicknesses, because that coin in your hand could be one of those legendary pieces that collectors dream of. And who knows, you could be the next story, the next person who becomes rich overnight from finding a penny worth $5.8 million. And that is the incredible story of the lucky 1981 Lincoln penny, a coin of history, mystery, and unimaginable value. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought it was just spare money? Just a couple of pennies, nickels, or dimes that didn't really matter? What if I told you that right now, in circulation, hiding in jars, drawers, and pockets all across America, there is a penny so rare, so valuable, that if you find it, you could become a millionaire overnight? Today, I'm talking about one of the most shocking stories in the world of coin collecting, the legendary 1989 Lincoln cent, a penny that has made headlines because one of them sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $7.6 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin that most people would toss aside without a second thought has changed someone's life forever, turning a simple penny into the ticket to a fortune. Now let's go back for a moment and talk about the Lincoln penny itself. The penny has been in circulation since 1909, when it was first introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it featured the familiar profile of Lincoln on the obverse and the famous wheat ears on the reverse. Over the decades, it has gone through design changes, from the wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, and more recently to the Union Shield design in 2010. But despite being America's smallest denomination, the penny has held some of the biggest surprises in the world of coin collecting. Errors, misprints, and unique variations have made certain pennies worth thousands, even millions of dollars, and the 1989 D is the ultimate example. So what makes the 1989 D penny so special? At first glance, it looks just like any other coin. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is what the little d mint mark stands for. Millions of these pennies were produced that year, and almost all of them are still only worth a cent. But there's something different about one extremely rare specimen. It was struck with a combination of unique characteristics that collectors call a minting anomaly, and this specific coin ended up being a once-in-a-lifetime error that no one expected. Because of how rare it is, and because the demand among collectors skyrocketed when word of its existence got out, the value shot up higher and higher until finally, one example made history when it sold for $7.6 million at auction. Think about that for a moment. A coin that you could find in your change at the grocery store, a coin you could discover in your piggy bank, might just be worth more than the house you live in, more than exotic cars, even more than most people earn in a lifetime. Imagine finding that penny, putting it under a magnifying glass, and realizing you're holding one of the most valuable coins in the world. Overnight, your life could change. 1 cent could literally turn into millions of dollars. This is not just pocket change, this is history, this is treasure, this is the reason why so many people are starting to look at every single coin that passes through their hands. Now, the story of the $7.6 million penny spread like wildfire among collectors and everyday people alike. Some say the coin had an unusual double die error. Others claim it was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was made from a metal blank not intended for pennies. Still others believe it was a secret trial piece accidentally released into circulation. Whatever the truth is, the rarity of this single 1989 D penny makes it the stuff of legends. And because of that legend, the demand among wealthy collectors went through the roof. Auction houses received bids from around the world, each buyer hoping to own the ultimate prize of American coinage. And when the hammer finally came down, the price stunned the world, $7.6 million for a 1 cent coin. But here's the most exciting part. Coins like this don't always end up in museums or in private vaults right away. Many of them are discovered by regular people who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. You could be emptying out your car's cup holder, counting out change for a vending machine, or rolling pennies from a jar in your kitchen, and suddenly, you notice something different. A date that stands out, a mint mark that doesn't look quite right, a coin that feels heavier or lighter than usual. That's how discoveries are made. Ordinary people turning into millionaires overnight because they paid attention to the change in their hands, and that's why I always say, never ignore your pennies. Most of them are worth face value, yes, but history has proven time and time again that treasures are hiding in plain sight. Whether it's the 1943 copper penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, the 1955 double-die penny famous among collectors, or this extraordinary 1989 D penny worth $7.6 million, the stories are real. They've happened before, and they can happen again. That's the thrill of coin collecting. That's why treasure hunters and everyday people are looking more closely than ever at every coin they touch. Now picture this. You find one. You're sitting at your table, sorting through coins, and there it is. A 1989 D penny with all the characteristics of the legendary million-dollar coin. Your heart races. You rush to get it authenticated by a professional grading service. They confirm it. You are holding the very coin that the entire world has been searching for. And then the offers start rolling in. Collectors from all over the world fighting for the chance to buy it. $7.6 million on the table. Just like that, your life is different. No more debts, no more financial stress, all because of a penny. This is why the story of the 1989 D penny has gone viral. It captures the imagination. It inspires people to look closer, to search harder, and to believe that hidden treasures still exist. So next time you get change from the store, don't overlook those pennies. Don't leave them in a tip jar without a glance. Check the date, check the mint mark, and remember that among the billions of ordinary coins, one extraordinary penny is still out there, waiting to be found, waiting to change someone's life forever. The 1989 D Lincoln cent, the $7.6 million penny, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that proves sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest value. Keep your eyes open, keep searching, and who knows? The next time you reach into your pocket, you might just become the next overnight millionaire. Camera zooms in on a shiny penny sitting on a table under a spotlight. Imagine holding a penny in your hand. Just 1 cent, something so ordinary, so small, so overlooked. But what if I told you that the very same coin, yes, a simple Lincoln penny, could be worth a life-changing fortune? Not just a few $100s. Not just a few thousand. I'm talking about a staggering $8.9 million, that's right, $8.9 million, from a coin most people would walk right past on the street. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and unbelievable coin stories of all time, the 1975 Lincoln penny. A coin that, under the right conditions, could transform you from average to millionaire, literally overnight. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909, first struck to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. For over a century, Americans have carried these pennies in their pockets, jingled them in jars, and tossed them into wishing fountains. It is the most produced coin in U.S. history, with billions and billions minted. Pause for effect, but within those billions hides a secret. Every so often, a rare minting error, a unique variation, or a historical accident creates a coin unlike any other. These mistakes, invisible to the casual eye, are what turn ordinary change into extraordinary treasures. Why 1975 matters **** narrator, tone shifts to suspense ****. Now, you might be asking yourself. Why 1975? What makes the pennies from that year so important? The truth is, 1975 pennies should not even exist in rare form, let me explain. In 1975, the U.S. Mint did not actually produce any pennies with the date 1975 for special sets. Instead, they were preparing for the 1976 bicentennial celebration, and most effort went into minting the quarters, halves, and dollars with the dual date 1776-1976. That means the humble penny of 1975 was supposed to be just another regular copper coin, nothing special, nothing collectible. Pause, build intrigue, but here's where the story takes a wild turn. Somewhere in the shadows of the minting process, something unusual happened. A very, very small number of 1975 pennies were struck with errors, misprints, double dies, off-center designs, and in some cases, rumored to be made from the wrong metal planchet. These extremely rare anomalies catapulted an ordinary 1-cent coin into the realm of millions of dollars. The $8.9 million lucky penny asterisk, in the world of coin collecting, also known as numismatics, value is driven by rarity and condition. And the rarest of them all? The 1975 Lincoln penny era coin, which has been valued at an astonishing $8.9 million in auctions and private sales. Just imagine, a penny, the lowest denomination in American currency, suddenly worth more than luxury mansions, supercars, and private islands. This single coin could pay off debts, set you up for life, and change your family's future forever. And the most mind-blowing part? It could still be sitting out there, waiting to be found, hiding in circulation. You may have one right now. In a piggy bank. In a drawer. In a dusty old jar that hasn't been touched for years. That's the magic of coin hunting, you never know when luck might strike. Alright, so what makes this particular penny worth millions? Here's what experts say you need to watch out for. 1. Date * the coin should clearly say 1975.2. Errors * look for unusual details. This could be a double die, where the date or letters appear doubled. It could be a misaligned strike, an off-center design, or even a penny struck on a dime planchet by mistake. 3. Condition * the shinier and more well-preserved, the better. Collectors prize coins in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost brand new. If you ever see something odd about a penny from 1975, don't dismiss it. That tiny difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and $8.9 million. The millionaire dream, think about it. People spend their lives chasing wealth, lotteries, investments, business ventures. And yet, in this incredible story, fortune is hiding in the smallest, simplest thing, a coin we use to buy bubble gum. For the lucky finder, it's like hitting the jackpot without ever buying a ticket. Stories of ordinary people finding rare pennies have popped up again and again. Someone cleaning out an attic. Someone checking their change at the grocery store. Someone dumping out a piggy bank they had since childhood. In each case, a casual discovery turned into the chance of a lifetime. So the next time you get change, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Because in that handful of coins might be your golden ticket. That lucky 1975 penny, the 1-cent coin that could make you a millionaire overnight. Final thoughts: the 1975 Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that treasures can hide in plain sight, and life-changing luck can appear when you least expect it. So check your pockets, check your jars, check every penny you see. Because one day, someone will find the next $8.9 million penny, and that someone could be you. Asterisk on-screen text, check your change. Stay lucky. Subscribe for more coin secrets. Asterisk, and remember, sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your coin hunt. Have you ever thought that the loose change rattling around in your pocket or sitting at the bottom of your old jar could actually be worth more than a mansion, a sports car, and a lifetime of financial freedom? Well, today you are about to discover the unbelievable story of one of the rarest, most valuable, and most shocking coins still hiding in everyday circulation, the legendary 1972 Lincoln penny. Now, at first glance, this little copper coin looks just like the countless pennies you and I have spent on gum or dropped into vending machines without even thinking twice, but hidden within a handful of these coins is a mistake, a twist of history, and a stroke of luck so powerful that it has transformed ordinary people into millionaires overnight. Let's rewind back to the year 1972. America was in the middle of change. The Vietnam War was still ongoing. Richard Nixon was president, and the U.S. Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents, each one made of copper, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Now, in a production line that massive errors are bound to slip through, and in 1972 something happened that would go down as one of the most famous minting mistakes in history. A handful of these pennies came out of the presses with what is called a double die error. This means the design on the coin was accidentally struck twice but slightly out of alignment, causing the words Liberty, the date 1972, and even the motto In God We Trust to look doubled clear, bold, and eye-catching to anyone who knows what to look for. At first no one paid attention. After all, it's just a penny, right? But slowly word spread among collectors and hobbyists that these special 1972 double-die Lincoln cents were unlike anything else they had seen. They were crisp, they were bold, and they were rare. In fact, only a very small number were ever released into circulation, and once collectors realized how unique they were, the scramble began. Over the decades their value climbed higher and higher, and today, in the right condition, this coin isn't just rare, it's life-changing. You might be thinking, sure, maybe $100, maybe a couple thousand, but hold on, because the truth is jaw-dropping. In the current collector's market, a pristine, top-graded example of a 1972 double-die Lincoln penny can command a price of up to $8.7 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $8.7 million for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. That means a penny could literally be your ticket to riches that could change the rest of your life. And the most amazing part is these coins are still out there. They were released into circulation just like any other coin. That means they could be hiding inside coin jars, in wallets, under couch cushions, or in bank rolls, waiting for someone lucky enough to spot them. Now here's where the story gets even crazier. The 1972 double-die penny is not just a myth. It has been documented, authenticated, and prized by collectors for decades. The doubling on the lettering is so bold that even with the naked eye you can see it without needing a magnifying glass. When you look closely at the words Liberty or the motto In God We Trust, the letters look like shadows of themselves doubled right on top. That is the clear sign you are not holding an ordinary cent, but a piece of history. Think about it for a second. We live in a world where people spend years trying to win the lottery, where scratch-off tickets promise instant riches, but the odds are always stacked against you. Meanwhile, in the case of the 1972 Lincoln penny, someone out there right now might be walking around with this coin in their pocket with no idea they are carrying a fortune. Imagine walking into a store, handing over a penny to pay for something, and unknowingly spending $8.7 million just like that. It is mind-blowing to think about. Collectors say that when searching for one of these coins, the key is to carefully check every single 1972 penny you come across. Don't just glance at the date, look at the letters, look at the motto, and see if you notice that strange doubling effect. And if you do, you might just be holding one of the most valuable pennies in existence. Even coins that aren't in mint state condition still sell for thousands of dollars because demand among collectors is sky high. But the real jackpot is those top quality preserved examples, the ones that almost look like they were just struck yesterday. Those are the ones that hit the $1 million plus mark and have reached that staggering $8.7 million value. Imagine for a moment how that could change your life. No more stressing over bills, no more worrying about debts. You could buy your dream home, travel the world, set up a business, or simply never work again, all thanks to a single penny, a coin that most people overlook, a coin that might already be sitting in a jar of change in your kitchen or tucked away in a drawer. From Years ago, that's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt in plain sight. Some of the most incredible stories from the coin world involve everyday people just like you discovering these rare pieces by accident. Someone rolls coins to take to the bank and one coin looks odd, so they check closer and suddenly they are holding a small fortune. Another person inherits a jar of pennies from a grandparent and tucked away in there is a rare double die that changes their life forever. And every single one of these stories proves that the 1972 Lincoln penny is not just a piece of metal, it is a golden ticket in disguise. So the next time you empty your pockets or count up spare change, don't ignore those pennies, because remember, one of them could be the key to unimaginable wealth. You don't need a metal detector, you don't need to dig through fields or pan for gold. The treasure might already be in your hand, just waiting for you to notice it. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate the value of what seems ordinary. Sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest secrets, and the 1972 double die Lincoln penny is the perfect example. It's more than just a coin, it's a chance at history and a chance at fortune. So start checking every penny you find, because who knows, the next one you pick up could be worth $8.7 million and could make you rich overnight. Now let me ask you this: what would you do if you found a penny like this? Would you sell it right away, cash out and enjoy the wealth, or would you hold onto it and let its value climb even higher over the years? There's no wrong answer, but the important thing is knowing what you have and recognizing its power. And with that, I'll leave you with this thought: treasure is everywhere if you know where to look. Sometimes it's buried in the ground, sometimes it's locked away in a vault, and sometimes, just sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight in the palm of your hand in the form of a simple 1-cent coin. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground without thinking twice about it? Most of us walk right past pennies. Some people do not even bother to keep them in their wallet anymore. But what if I told you that the very same coin you might step over on the sidewalk could actually make you a millionaire overnight? This is not a fantasy or a movie plot. This is the real-life story of the 1970 Lincoln penny. A coin that looks so ordinary, and yet one example in circulation has been valued at a jaw-dropping $2.7 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $2.7 million for a single penny. Imagine you are at the grocery store. You get your change back. The cashier slides a few coins into your hand. You barely look down. It is just some pennies. Maybe a dime or two. But one of those pennies could change your entire life. You could be holding a retirement plan, a college fund, a brand new house, or the keys to a luxury car in the palm of your hand. That is the power of the 1970 Lincoln penny. So what exactly makes this coin so rare? Why is this tiny piece of copper worth more than most people's homes? The truth lies in history and in error. Back in the year 1970, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. At first glance, they look no different from the ones you see every day. But among them, a tiny number were struck with mistakes. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are everything. Errors make coins rare. Rarity creates demand. And demand drives the value sky high. Now the 1970 penny that everyone is talking about is special because it was struck with a double die error. This means the design on the coin was accidentally pressed twice, slightly off from each other. If you look closely at the letters and the numbers, you can see doubling, especially in the word liberty and in the date 1970 itself. To the untrained eye, it might just look a little blurry. But to collectors, this is like spotting gold. And to make it even more incredible, only a very small number of these pennies ever left the mint. We are talking about coins you could probably count on your fingers. That scarcity is what pushes the value into the millions, but here is the part that makes it truly exciting. These pennies were released into circulation just like any other coin. That means they could be hiding in old piggy banks, forgotten coin jars, or even in the loose change rattling around in your car cup holder right now. Regular people have found them before. Someone could find one again tomorrow. And when that happens, their entire financial future changes in an instant. Think about it. You find a penny, you take it to a professional coin dealer or a grading service, and they tell you the truth. Congratulations, this is the 1970 double die penny in mint condition. At auction, this coin has been appraised and sold for as much as $2.7 million. Just like that, overnight, you go from holding 1 cent to holding a fortune. No lottery ticket. No casino trip. Just pure luck and an ordinary penny. Now let us talk about the market value. A lot of people ask, how can a penny possibly be worth millions? The answer is supply and demand. There are only a handful of these error coins in existence. Collectors and investors with deep pockets know this. They compete fiercely when one comes up for auction. That competition pushes the price higher and higher. In recent years we have seen record-breaking sales. A verified example of the 1970 Lincoln penny with the double die error reached an incredible $2.7 million at auction. That is not just pocket change. That is life-changing money, and here is something else to think about. Coin values can continue to climb over time. As more collectors enter the market and as the number of rare coins shrinks because they are locked away in private collections, the prices go up. That means if you found one of these pennies today and held onto it for another decade, it could be worth even more in the future. That is why rare coin collecting is not just a hobby. For many people it is an investment strategy, but the story does not end with the double die error. The 1970 Lincoln penny has other varieties that are also valuable. For example, the 1970s penny, which was struck in San Francisco, has proof versions with errors that collectors go crazy for. Some of these proof coins, even if they are not worth millions, can still sell for thousands of dollars. So when you check your change, do not just glance at the date. Look closely at the mint mark and the details. That tiny S or that doubled lettering could mean the difference between 1 cent and a small fortune. Now picture this. You are sitting at home watching this very video. You finish and decide to dump out that jar of coins you have been saving for years. You spread them out across the table. Most of them look normal. But then you notice something strange about one penny from 1970. The letters look doubled. The numbers look doubled. Your heart starts racing. Could this be it? Could you really be holding a $2.7 million coin? This is how people get rich overnight. Not through magic, not through luck alone, but by paying attention and by knowing what to look for. The truth is that treasure is all around us. Sometimes it is hiding in plain sight. And in the case of the 1970 Lincoln penny, that treasure could be sitting in your pocket right now. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, do not walk past it. Pick it up. Look at the date. Study the details. Because while it may look like a regular coin, it might just be the key to your dream house, your dream car, or even your dream life. Remember this. 1 cent could be worth $2.7 million. And the 1970 Lincoln penny proves it. So start checking your coins today. Because the next overnight millionaire could be you.